When a complex machine violently fails on the side of the road, the standard reflex is immediate panic, followed quickly by the instinct to outsource the problem to an expert. There is a specific kind of person who reacts differently. They pop the hood, stand in the heat, and stare at the engine. Their expression isn't one of frustration, but a quiet, focused relief. That moment of calm is the real subject here. The vehicle itself is secondary to the psychological shift happening under the hood. Choosing to physically engage with a failing machine builds a specific kind of confidence. It is a reliance on one's own senses that cannot be borrowed or bought. This begins with a simple assumption: the machine is knowable. It suggests that if you stay with the problem long enough, the logic of the system will eventually reveal itself. The brain constructs an invisible mental model. Variables like the smell of burning coolant or a clicking starter are held in working memory simultaneously. Neuroscientists call this embodied cognition. The hands and the brain begin working as a single, unified system. This knowledge lives below the level of language. It is stored in muscle memory and in the particular silence that follows when a correctly seated bolt finally stops turning. Because this understanding relies so heavily on physical touch, it creates a personality trait that outsiders frequently misread as stubbornness. These individuals learn to trust their own direct perception over instruction manuals or established authorities. They have seen the manual fail to account for a specific wear pattern that their own hands can clearly feel. This skepticism comes from a knowledge base built through the tension of a bolt that wouldn't turn, and a problem that only yielded to hours of patient, first-hand attention. Modern life is often negotiable. Deadlines move and expectations are managed, but the physical demands of an engine are absolute. Mechanical assembly sequences and torque specifications exist for physical reasons. You cannot negotiate with the force required to compress a suspension spring or the heat generated by a friction fit. If you rush a complex assembly or cut a corner, the original problem simply returns. Often, the damage is worse than when you started. Repeatedly facing these non-negotiable physical laws creates a unique tolerance for slow, methodical work. It builds a permanent suspicion of anything promising a quick fix. This skill is usually passed down in quiet, informal settings, often a driveway on a Saturday afternoon, between a mentor and a beginner. While the mentor shows where the wrench goes, they are actually demonstrating how to sit with a problem that refuses to cooperate. They are teaching the habit of staying until the solution is found. This relational learning attaches autobiographical weight to tools and vehicle models. A specific engine is remembered not for its horsepower, but for the person who was standing there when it finally started. Because the skill is forged through shared frustration and persistence, mechanical competence becomes a core part of how a person defines themselves. This is the ultimate psychological outcome, an internal locus of control. It's the encoded belief that outcomes are driven by personal effort, making the world feel stable because you aren't at the mercy of luck or other people. Having repeatedly seen a dead machine return to life through their own focus, their baseline for what is fixable shifts. When they encounter a confusing situation, they are more likely to look for the underlying logic rather than feeling paralyzed by the mess. This mindset is a direct counter to the modern world, where success is often subjective. In most jobs, knowing if a meeting went well is a matter of opinion. The garage is different. An engine that was silent and is now running provides a definitive, verifiable answer. The feedback is absolute. For many, retreating to the garage is a way to regulate the mind. It is a return to a world where effort leads to a clear result. The engine becomes a miniature arena. It allows the individual to restore the sense of competence that the ambiguous modern world can erode during the rest of the week. The real question isn't whether you can fix a car. The question is what broken thing in your own life you are waiting for someone else to explain, when the answer requires your own hands.